and welcome back to the Friends Like Us Extra Information episode. Hi, I am Marina Franklin, and I am the creator of Friends Like Us podcast. I am your regular host. And by regular, I don't mean like I'm a regular girl. I'm like there all the time. So we have women of color. And this month, we've actually had a lot of men on the show. And we've had a white twice. And it's just what I like to say is, once a month, like a period. Well, it's been a heavy flow this month. Yes. Or maybe my booking, I just forgot. Okay. It just happens that way sometimes. So this is the night after I've done a lot of dancing. So that's why I still have my shoulders out, So I may be a little blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I want to give you an update because we're sort of behind in the news cycle. Like every time we do the podcast, it's supposed to be hot topics. Well, it's kind of lukewarm because things just keep happening and I can't catch up. And I try to make the topics like actually evergreen. Have you ever heard that word before? Evergreen? It's like where it's kind of like general. So, things that happen while you're black. It's been quiet this week. I think white people are getting it. Stop calling on us. Starbucks is they're talking about how they're going to implement a program. They're going to talk about how they hire people. They're going to really question them. Number one question they should interview their employee if they want to get the job is, have you ever called the cops on a black person ever? And if they say yes, you don't get the job. And that should go on your record. By the way, I have a question for you. Have you had any Starbucks coffee lately, huh? How many of you are feeling guilty out there about having Starbucks coffee? Not me. It's good stuff. That dark roast, Italian blend. I need money for that advertisement, actually. That was a good promotion for them. So there's a lot of things that have happened in the news. But you know what? I'll tell you who was on our last show. On our last show, we had two men. We had Will DuBose, who is an architect, a black architect. We had Ted Alexandro, who's white, and he is an activist. He's involved in Black Lives Matter. So that's why we had him here. See, it's important to bring them on the show so that their voices need to be heard. No, their voices don't need to be heard, but they need to be with ours. Okay, yes. So there it is. Ted does a lot of listening. That's what he said on the show. So you should hear that episode. If you haven't, go and listen to it. We also had Kenise Mobley. She's a young comic. Always have young comics on the show because you never know where they'll go. They're climbing. Climb, Kenise, climb. And it's just a really good episode because we get into questions of, how do you feel being black? How do you feel? Do you feel uncomfortable in moments in your own skin in certain spaces? And so a lot had happened at the time. We were talking about the woman who called the police on the family that was barbecuing, and we're way past that. I don't even know what's happened to her. She's like out of the cycle. No one's even talking about her. White women aren't even wearing sunglasses like that anymore. That is not a trend. So don't wear your black sunglasses because you'll be memed out, girl. Yes. And I think what's happening now in New York is we had a racist rant by a lawyer who decided that the people who were speaking Spanish around him were inappropriate. And so he said he was going to call ICE on them. And since that time, he's had mariachi bands outside his building. He was actually evicted. Well, okay, so it wasn't actually his office. It wasn't legitimately his office since the last time we found out that they just said, we just don't want you around. Okay, even if we were going to give you a lease, we're definitely not giving you a lease now. We just want you out. Because we don't want you calling the ICE on any of the people in our building because they're definitely here. I think that was part of it. I'm not sure. But they were basically like, no, goodbye. So he's been harassed. They know his home address. And he issued an apology. Well, let's see what his apology was about. Let's see here. He actually said that seeing the video made him realize like how he looked, like actually seeing himself. So he wanted to make an apology about his behavior. But here's the thing. And a lot of the people who were working there, they said actions speak louder than words. So your apology is not enough. Like until we see you doing something, like if you take on a client who's possibly going to be deported and you do something for them, then we can see that you're actually sorry. But until then, the mariachi bands are going to be playing forever. But my question to you is, do you think that we should, I guess, allow forgiveness? Should we accept his apology? What do you think? Do you think that saying I'm sorry is enough anymore? How do you feel? Because the last time we asked, do you think like a mob mentality makes a person, is that right too? Is that justice? What type of justice should this man receive? How about the woman who called the cops on the people, my people, who were barbecuing? Should we forgive her? Has she said she was sorry? What do you think? What's the solution? We'll talk about that on the next Friends Like Us, because Marina doesn't have it. All right. Some other things that have happened. The Chew, my favorite show on ABC, was canceled. Oh, my God. It was such a light, friendly show. But ABC, yeah, they made this announcement. And they had multiple Emmy nominations, 2 Emmy Awards. The show made its debut in 2011 with Hall, Kelly, and Simon, as well as Daphne Oz, who left the show last year after the 6th season. But this could be why, sources say. Disgraced chef Mario Batali could have something to do with it. Was also a co-host, but he was fired in December after sexual harassment allegations surfaced. That is a man's kryptonite right now. Sexual harassment. You could have the best, it's going down. The news of the show's cancellation came shortly after it was announced that Batali was under criminal investigation of sexual assault. Timing is everything, huh? It's everything. I just feel bad because I feel like the cast members shouldn't be blamed for Batali's actions, right? All right, what else is going on? Big news just came in. Morgan Freeman. He going down. He touched somebody. A young production assistant thought she had landed the job of her dreams. This was on CNN. This is the only place you can find that news. Breaking news, CNN. As Michelle Wolf said, they broke it. 2015, she started work on Going in Style, a bank heist comedy starring Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and Alan Arkin. Oh, I remember that show. It was like old men who were doing stuff, right? That was what the premise was. Look, old men, they could do things. But the job quickly devolved into several months of harassment, she told CNN. She alleges that Freeman subjected her to unwanted touches and comments about her figure and clothing on nearly daily basis. Can't make fun of that. Freeman would rest his hand on her lower back or rub her lower back. Oh. And now there's more allegations coming out from other women. Am I right? So that'll probably be on the next episode of Friends Like Us. We'll talk about Morgan Freeman, the voice of God, or now the voice of a different kind of God. All right, so we're taking some of these old guys out. It's a different world, everybody. Hey, keep it in your pants. This is what I say. Huh? Keep it in your pants. And don't do that on the subway like I had this morning coming here. I mean, my God. You figure, you got a room for a reason. Okay, so what else is going on? Let's talk about some of our fans who've written in. Right? We've had a couple of fans who've written in since the last episode. Will DeBose, who I said was a black architect on the show, he got this comment from Hugo Torres, who is a regular commenter on our Twitter page, which is Friends Like Us 10, if you didn't know. Will DeBose, listening to part in Friends Like Us, where you discuss hiring a white woman in order to interact with clientele. And he says, I'm actually surprised that you had to hire a white woman to interact with your clientele as an architect. He says, I suppose I shouldn't be, but I am. Hey, these things happen. You know, it's like he's a Black architect, and sometimes, like he said on the show, well, you're going to have to listen to the episode. All right. What else happened? Oh, this is from the previous episode with Joelle and Khalees. I don't know. We talked about someone acting kind of light-skinned and was too... Oh, we said that J. Cole, they were surprised that J. Cole was as angry as he was because he's light-skinned. And someone wrote, like, they loved the whole episode except for that part. And Joelle used a meme that said, I said what I said. By what's it? Nene Ash? Nene? Mimi? I don't watch these shows. She said, I said what I said. I said what I said. And Khalees was like, that's right. And I was like, that's hilarious. Eventually. But I do agree, actually, with the guy who tweeted. Or girl. Sorry. I should pay attention. All right. So now who else wrote in to us since the last party people? Oh, someone, R.H. Wooden, liked the fact that we had Ted Alexandro, Will DeBose on the show, and Kenise Mobley, and wrote party people. I don't know why, though. We weren't really partying. We were just standing there and taking a picture. But that's cool. Maybe we look like we party. And I appreciate that. It is like a party. Every time we record an episode, it is a party. Okay, so let's go to some of our reviews on iTunes. You want to hear what they say? Yeah. I used to like this podcast more when they crack jokes all the time. And Pat Roberts was there. They even got the name wrong. It's Pat Brown was part of it. Marina, so you weren't a good listener, first of all, because you don't even know her last name. Her last name is not Roberts. It's Brown. Marina was also wavered between hilarious and annoying in her ignorance. Wavering between annoying and her ignorance. Hilarious. This is a compliment to me. Now that there is no Pat Roberts, and has essentially devolved into a political discussion among people who don't know very much about nothing. They usually bring on political scientists, which is helpful. However, I want to hear jokes. In this day and age, with the Trump presidency, jokes are especially needed. Hello, we do jokes. Pat Roberts never even existed on the show. And you still gave us 3 stars. Shin Kim. What ethnicity do you think that person is, huh? So anyway, let's see here. Okay, Jay. No, but see, let's see. Oh, some recent ones. This was in March. Oh, that's not very recent. It's, what is it, May? And it's by a first person who said this was their favorite podcast. I like you. Good Shoes Pride. Good Two Shoes Pride. I love that name. Nothing but praise for this show. It's the kind of podcast that causes you to want to make your commute a little longer so you can hear more of Marina and her friends. Ignorance, annoying. All right. I love the podcast. This is background noise. Would rate 5 stars, but there's too much background noise. Oh, this is before you came along, Jay. Yeah. So you fixed the problem, huh? Hey. Yeah, we did. For a while, we were in transition between the show radio.com, which was a network we were on. So we were in a transition, and we didn't want to leave our listeners without an episode. So I kept it going, because that's what I do. And I started the podcast actually on my own. And I did my own like audio and everything. And I wasn't great at it, but I always wanted to put content out there. So I do apologize, kind of. But your critique is wrong. All right, so, well, thanks for making it your favorite show. My most played podcast. I've been a listener for about 1.5 years now. This is Kikili 12. And all the podcasts I've subscribed to, this is my favorite. I was a little sad when Pat Brown left, but I still enjoy the conversation discussed on the podcast. Some episodes are a little blah. Can we edit that out? And some of the guests seem too narrow-minded, in my opinion. But I just skip that and go to the next episode when it gets too much fun for me. I have and will continue to recommend this podcast. So even when it's blah, I'm just going to recommend it because I still have a good time. I like you. That's like an honest critique. You know, like even for me, I have days where I'm like, bleh, and I have days where I'm like, this is a good day. That's how it goes in the podcast world, people. Start your own podcast and see how easy it is, huh? You try it. All right. So that's iTunes. And we are on iTunes, or now it's called Apple Podcast, as friends like us. We're also on Stitcher. We're on Google Music. We're on Apple Radio. I said that. We're on, iHeart Radio and Spotify. So listen to us on Spotify. All right. Well, we have some new notifications that just came in as I'm talking on Twitter. Shades of let me get it right. Shades of Lou. So, the person who got critiqued for saying they didn't like that one part about J. Cole. They go, LOL. They're laughing. I will still love you guys. One of the best podcasts for a black woman out there. That's right. See, that's why it's good to kind of come back every now and then. It's so much fun to go back and forth with people you don't even know. It's like there's nothing really but yeah. Okay. On the last episode, I actually talked about a guy I met at a dance club, but not with, the architect. I only mentioned briefly about how, because we're still friends, and he did my bathroom he did my bathroom. Nothing else. He did my bathroom. He did a great job on my bathroom, by the way. Wonderful. The walls look amazing. And you should go check him out. Will DeBose Design. Nook Will DeBose. Will DeBose Design. Yes. Check him out. Black architect. And by the way, he doesn't do any work. He just goes, this is how it should look. And then he leaves. And then you never see him again. So, kind of like our relationship. That's how it went down. Yeah. But, that's fine. I did meet someone at the dance club 2 weeks ago, and I talked about that on the podcast. And when we had Chloe Hilliard, and she asked about it, and she was like, where's it going? It went nowhere, okay? You want to know why? This guy gave me his number, and then I texted him, nothing, and then I called him, because that's what I do. If you're not gonna text me back, I'm gonna call you up, and I'm gonna find out why you didn't text me back, okay? And I said I'm not a crazy woman. I'm not. I just wanted to know if your number was actually working. And it did work. And he sounded like he was in the arms of another woman when he answered the phone. He was whispering, and it was very uncomfortable. And I hung up right away. And that's it. That's pretty much it. I did do a couple of texts afterwards, like, are you sure? And that ended in, yeah. So that's not going to work out. I don't know, you guys. Tell me something. Why do you ask for a woman's number and then you play games? Like, what is that? Like, why give your number? Were you drunk at the time? Were you on mushrooms? Were you high? Do you not know yourself? Are you too young? Are you just an asshole? What is it? Tell me. Answer that question. We'll talk about that on the next episode of Friends Like Us. Marina gets it out. We did have another episode that's coming out with Khalees Hawkins, Agunda Akeo, and Kira Wesley Busher. Kira is the booker for the Mist Space in Harlem. It's a comedy club in Harlem, and she books that. So if you were looking for comedy in New York City and in Harlem and in a black-owned business, go to Mist. Check it out. And I had Agunda, who is also an activist. She's written several articles. She wrote an article for Cambridge Analytica about the influence in Africa. And she's a regular on the show. She's great. Khalees was there as well. who is a fast-coming regular on the show, who's always challenging and has very different opinions from others, but it's brilliant stuff. I love, like, where, I don't sound like I'm convincing here, but Khalees is a very good friend. All right, so that's there. All right, and in our next episode we have coming out 2 weeks later, we have Charla Lariston, Zainab Johnson, and Russ Green. So you have, our listeners, you have a lot of great episodes that are coming your way. I want you to stay with us. Don't forget Friends Like Us podcast, okay? It's Friends Like Us 10 on Twitter. It's Friends Like Us podcast on Instagram. Friends Like Us on Facebook. Please check us out. Bye. Oh, we're also on Patreon. So now, if you want to donate money to us, if you want a t-shirt, I have t-shirts coming, Jay. But yeah, we have t-shirts coming. We have extra content coming. There was going to be an interview with my sister, who is a Juno, the guitarist, but she is too busy for me. So that happened. But there will be extra content on our Patreon page. Extra content like video footage of the actual episodes. You like to see what happens while we're recording? You'll get an inside look at it, like a real sneak peek. So that's all happening. And I want to thank you all. That's really why I do this. I want to thank you all for listening to the podcast. And I want you to continue to tell people to check us out. Bye. I don't know. I'm weird with anniversaries and birthdays. I think that's because my birthday's on Christmas. So I get cheated. So I don't like celebrating nothing.